I'm going to share with you the 9 principles that map the path back to yourself after a cluster B relationship. 9 steps, 3 groups, body, mind, and functionality. I'm going to share with you Vaknin's 9 steps, which he insists you can recover. The prognosis is good. You will fully heal. Just keep in mind that you won't go back to who you were. You will be changed, but everything that can be reconstructed will be. I'm also going to introduce some ideas from the book OLNE, like End Running Your Ego and Radical Honesty. This is the final episode 7 of the Ego Architecture series, and this is where we close the loop. We've spent 6 episodes tracing how the ego gets built, how it gets compromised, how it defends itself against your own healing. We talked about how end running your ego, the way to change your ego, to change the ego's threat model without fighting it directly. Vaknin gave us the 9 steps, the renovation blueprint, and the book OLNE gives us a structural reframe or frame that makes all 9 of those steps actually survivable because some of them are really hard. Let's go through them. The first 3 steps are about your body because the body is not separate from your recovery. It is a vehicle of it. Step 1 is attention. Pay attention to your body. Monitor your breathing, your pulse, your muscle tension, your perspiration. Be aware of what you feel and where you feel it. Develop a friendship with your own body. Become intimate with every fiber and tissue that carries you through the world. This is self-empathy paired with self-soothing. Make your body your ally by getting to know it to perfection. The second pillar of OLNE, non-judgmental acceptance, begins with your own physical existence. When you pay attention to your body without criticizing it, without hating it for what it couldn't do during the relationship, you're practicing the same acceptance OLNE asks you to extend to other people. Your body did its best under extraordinary circumstances. Attention means acknowledging that. Step 2 is regulation. Control your bodily processes. Breathe, regulate your pulse, think positive thoughts if necessary. Understand you're in crisis, but maintain a regime of self-control and self-regulation. Think of it like parenting a child. There's love, there's intimate knowledge of each other, but you're still the adult in the room. You're in charge. Listen to its signals and respond to them honestly. Don't suppress them. Don't perform for them. Just hear them out and act on what they're telling you. Step 3, protection. Protect your body. It's been assaulted. Narcissistic abuse causes measurable physiological disruptions, elevated cortisol, disrupted sleep architecture, immune system suppression. Some of these effects last a long time. Your body needs you to be on its side now, not at war with it. Do not punish your body. Do not hate it. Do not blame it for anything. Your mind is in charge, and your body is a reflection of psychological processes. Treat them both as collaborators, not adversaries. The next 3 steps are about your mind, which has been invaded. Your mind has been co-opted. The narcissist turned it against you. There's a hostile force in there, and it's been running the show. It's time to take it back. Step 4 is authenticity, which is the filter. Vaknin suggests a single question to ask of every piece of content that enters your mind. Every internal voice, every external input, every piece of media, every comment from a friend or family member. The question is this me? Does this reflect who I am, who I want to be? Does this voice treat me with compassion and consideration? Or does it seek to diminish me, shame me, degrade me? If the voice inside your head is harsh, self-critical, sadistic, that is not an authentic voice. That's the internalized object of the abuser. You shut it off. You verbalize the rejection if you had to. I'm not listening to you. You don't seek my well-being. Go away. This is the authentic filter. As you filter out the non-authentic content, your contours become visible again. Day by day, you feel more like yourself. Memories surface. You can put them together in a coherent framework. And what remains is your core identity, rediscovered. Let's incorporate the fourth idea from the book OLNE, co-independence, in its purest form. You are the world's leading expert on yourself. No one else knows you better, not even the people who knew you before the relationship. You have to trust your own read on what's yours and what isn't. Step 5 is positivity. Positivity provides the balance. Positivity is not naivety. It's not denial. It's not going around pretending the world is all good when it's not. Positivity is the refusal to split, to see everything as all good or all bad, black or white, perfect or catastrophic. The ability to see that nothing is totally negative, nothing is irredeemable, no one is beyond recovery. This is what makes the world habitable. It's the balance. It's a recognition that the universe contains both, and that healthy perception includes both. The first pillar of OLNE, this is where non-conditional love does its work. Non-conditional love doesn't mean everyone gets a pass for everything. It means you stop treating people and yourself as reducible to their worst moment. The narcissist was not all bad. The relationship was not all bad. Your own choices during it were not all bad. You were doing the best you could with what you had. Positivity is the refusal to flatten that complexity. Step 6 is mindfulness. This is the anchor. If you're stuck in the past, you're doomed. If you're stuck in the future, you're doomed. The past is full of regret. The future doesn't exist yet. Both states detach you from the only place where actual change can happen, the present. In the book OLNE is my favorite quote. Hindsight from foresight is always 2020. People mistake predeterminism for determinism. Predeterminism is fate. There's no such thing. Nothing is already going to happen. But things are determined. In other words, in any situation and you look at it, you always find out the reasons why that thing occurred because everything that happens has circumstances preceding it. So you say to yourself, of course that happened. That way. And you can take that formula and project it to the future. Determinism. Mindfulness is about being grounded in the here and now, in your body, in your current circumstances, with the people who are actually present in your life. It's from this groundedness that you can revisit the past with new information and launch it into the future from the actual ground rather than fantasy. Connect this to the body steps. Attention to your breathing, regulation of your pulse. These ground you. These are not spiritual bypassing. These are structural requirements for mental health. The third pillar of OLNE, open communication, is present moment by definition. Communication happens now. OLNE's open communication asks you to be here in the actual exchange rather than rehearsing your response while the other person is still talking or replaying the last conversation while you're supposed to be in this one. The final 3 steps are about the functions you need to rebuild the internal architecture that keeps you oriented and protected going forward. Step 7, be a vigilant observer. Observe, not passively, vigilantly. Observe yourself, observe others, observe reality. Be curious, investigate, be an active participant in your own life rather than being a receptacle being acted upon. This is OLNE's co-independence pillar in practice. You are the scientist of your own life. You form theories, you test them, you revise them. The vigilant observer doesn't take anything on authority, including authority figures, including therapists, including people who say they know what's best for you. They take input, they evaluate it, they decide. In the book OLNE goes over plan, do, review, plan, do, review, plan, do, review. Vaknin says, regard your life as a research topic and you are the scientist. This is actually what we've been doing across this entire series, taking the frameworks you're learning here and treating them as data points to evaluate against your own experience, not as scripture to accept uncritically. That's the vigilant observer running. Take everything people say with a grain of salt, even mine, because psychology is a pseudoscience. No one has access to people's internal workings. Step 8, shielding sensor. You need a filter. Not all input is safe input. Some voices inside you are your enemies. They don't want you to be happy. They want to take you down. Some voices from outside are the same. The shielding sensor decides what gets in. The sensor should be able to detect whether incoming content is compassionate or hostile, whether it treats you with consideration or seeks to diminish you. If it's hostile, internal or external, the sensor does not let it in. It acts as a firewall. This is the third pillar of OLNE. Non-judgmental acceptance is a protective function. Non-judgmental acceptance doesn't mean you let everything in. It means you make conscious decisions about what serves your well-being and you filter out what doesn't. Without guilt, without excessive rumination, you just give it entry. The shielding sensor has your best interest in mind. It seeks to maximize your well-being. It maintains an internal environment that is free of harsh criticism, free of sadistic put-downs, free of self-loathing. You are allowed to protect that environment. You are required to. Step 9, the Reality Sentinel. This one is particularly key, especially after a class B relationship. If you are a target of narcissistic abuse, you are prone to fantasy. You found reality less tolerable than the alternative. You were recruited into a shared fantasy and you participated in it, which means the machinery was already there in you, waiting to be used. You need a guardian of reality, a voice inside that tells you when you're drifting, when you're floating, fantasizing, disconnecting from what's actually happening. The Reality Sentinel maintains your reality testing at all times. It reminds you that you cannot fully trust your own grasp of reality right now, that you need to stay grounded. You need to rebuild the bridges to the actual world. The Sentinel's instruction is simple. When your mind and reality conflict, opt for reality. Always. Because reality is always a composite. It's always partly positive and partly negative. If you're getting information from outside that's wholly negative, it's not real. If it's wholly positive, it's not real. What's left is what's real. Trust that. 9 steps: body, mind, functionality, attention, regulation, protection, authenticity, positivity, mindfulness, vigilant observer, shielding sensor, reality sentinel. The book OLNE doesn't add new steps. It provides the emotional infrastructure that makes all 9 steps survivable. Non-conditional love means your worth is not contingent on the success or failure of any of this. If you try and you fail at first, if the attention slips, if the regulation breaks down, if the sentinel misses a drift, that doesn't reduce your value. OLNE's non-conditional love means you are doing the work because you matter, not because you have to earn the right to exist. Non-judgmental acceptance means failure is not a verdict, it's data. The authenticity filter, let me say that again. The authenticity filter identifies non-authentic content, and non-judgmental acceptance says, I can reject this without rejecting myself. I can protect my internal environment without feeling guilty about it. This is not arrogance. This is sanity. Open communication means you can do this with others. You can tell someone you're learning to trust yourself again. You can bring a friend or therapist into the process without performing recovery for them. You can be honest about where you are. Co-independence means the 9 steps are yours, not a protocol someone gave, not a protocol someone gave you. not a recovery program you inherited, your renovation, your reconstruction. Vaknin says you can go back to who you were before, not identical, but restored in ways that matter. The 9 steps are the blueprint. OLNE is the foundation you're building on. Vaknin imagines the narcissist is a supernova, an explosion that left only darkness behind. The explosion was real, the collapse was catastrophic. What remains is the void. But you're not the narcissist. You were not the void before the relationship. You were not an absence waiting to be filled. You were a person with preferences, instincts, boundaries, a sense of your own continuity across time. The shared fantasy scrambled your information, but information that has been scrambled is not destroyed. It is displaced. It can be reconstructed. The 9 steps are reconstruction, not a new self, not a better self that erases what happened, a renovation, or specifically a renovation, restoring what's there, clearing out what was imposed, rebuilding the actual foundation that was always underneath. Vecni's right. The prognosis is good, not because the work is easy, because you were a whole person before, and you can be whole again. Thank you for watching this series on the ego architecture. I'll see you in the next series. Share this video with other people. I'll see you on the next one. Bye bye.